ó dáni lójú pé yìí ó jìyà iṣẹ́ burúkú ni wọ́n ń ṣe tí wọ́n bá jalè wọ́n wá tún fọ́lé ẹ̀dá kún yé ẹni òbí wa lẹ́bàá lówó kẹjọ kẹtọ́ wa iṣẹ́ burúkú ni wọ́n ń ṣe tí wọ́n bá jalè wọ́n wá tún fọ́lé ẹ̀dá kún yé ẹni òbí wa lẹ́bàá lówó kẹjọ kẹtọ́ wa ẹ̀dá kún yé ẹni òbí wa lẹ́bàá lówó kẹjọ kẹtọ́ wa.
Good afternoon and welcome to another edition of this wonderful program on Radio Education Today. Education Today is a program that aims to call attention of the general public to education matters as they affect the effective running of the educational system and the achievement of educational goals. This comes on air every Saturday from 3 o'clock to 4 p.m. West African time on this station, Lights Radio. I am OLUBUNMI KAZEEM. Our goal is to educate, inform, orientate, and entertain the society on educational matters, address issues affecting the educational system, influence public opinion, and drive effective educational policy directions to guide the formulators and implementers. For your questions, comments, and contributions, you can reach us on Facebook via www.facebook.com/lightsradio, www.facebook.com/lightsradio. Our Twitter handle is @TheLightsRadio. Our Instagram handle is lights_radio and YouTube lights_radio. You can also call or send a message to us via SMS or WhatsApp on the number 0809-738-4000. I'll take that again, 0809-738-4000. In order to reward those who listen and watch us live, you have an opportunity to win fantastic prizes on our short quiz segment. Listen on and watch out for the simple questions. So you never can tell. It could be your turn to win this week. We'll go on a quick break. When we return, the program continues. Please stay with us. All right, if you're just joining, you are listening to Education Today on Lights Radio. We kick off with the news segment, and we are back. Nima is here with us in the studio. Hello, Nima.
Hello, good afternoon.
All right, over to you. Let's have the news.
Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to the news on Education Today, reaching you live from Light Radio. I am Nima Ibrahim. First, the headlines. Rivers Varsity bans sale of textbooks, warns students against sorting. Kano government reduces tertiary institution fees by 50%. OAU bans hugging, sitting on laps, tattoos, others on campus. And on the foreign scene, France to ban wearing abaya dress in schools, says minister. And now the details. The management of Ignatius Ajuru University of Education (IAUE) has placed a total ban on the compulsory sale of textbooks by lecturers to students for scores, as the institution warned that anyone caught violating either of the decisions would be punished accordingly. This is as the university warned students against the use of money to buy marks, noting that the anti-sorting committee of the institution has been reactivated. Acting Vice Chancellor of the University, Professor Okechukwu Onechukwu, further stressed the ban on the compulsory sale of textbooks and other forms of extortion by the lecturers, charging academic staff members to make available the sources of their teaching resources to the students. Lastly, he urged the students to report any lecturer who violates the order to him, as he advised them not to make themselves vulnerable to the lecturers by not studying hard. In a bid to alleviate the impact of subsidy removal and rising registration fees in tertiary institutions, the Kano State government has taken a significant step by reducing the school fees of state-owned tertiary institutions by 50%. Dr. Yusuf Kofar Mata, the State Commissioner for Higher Education, explained in a recent interview that this move aims to provide financial relief to parents during these challenging economic times. The decision to reduce school fees comes in response to the recent economic challenges and increased financial burdens faced by families. Among the institutions benefiting from this fee reduction are Aliko Dangote University of Science and Technology, ADUST, Yusuf Maitama Sule University, Yumsuk, and Aminu Kano College of Islamic and Legal Studies, AXIL. Additionally, Kano State Polytechnic, Saadatu Rimi College of Education, Audu Bako College of Agriculture, and Kano College of Remedial Science, CAS, are also included in this beneficial measure. The Obafemi Awolowo University OAU Ile-Ife has launched battle against immorality and indecent dressing on campus by placing ban on public kissing and hugging by opposite genders, wearing of skimpy dresses, tinted hair, tattoos, and others, while also asking the students to desist from wearing any dress or items that cover their faces. The school management also said sexually provocative dresses would no longer be allowed in the school. As contained in the revised student handbook, transparent wears, bum shorts, tattered jeans, dreadlocks, earrings for male, cowries for female, and micro and mini dresses, among others, have also been banned in the university. According to the school, violators of any of the dress codes will be rusticated from the school for 1 semester, while students found with colored hairstyles, hair braiding for males, or spangled hairstyle for males will be rusticated for 2 semesters from the school. The management has also vowed to rusticate students found touching, kissing, and hugging a member of the opposite sex, as well as students found massaging or sitting on the lap of the opposite sex for 2 semesters. In a related development, the Vice Chancellor of Alex Ekweme Federal University, ECO, Professor Sunday Elom, has cautioned students of the institution to be mindful of the type of clothes they wear to school. The warning was disclosed at the university during the institution's 11th matriculation ceremony last weekend. According to him, any students caught dressing indecently would be made to pay the sum of 10,000 naira only. Minister of Education Professor Tahir Maman has pledged that the 17-year-old abandoned National Library would be completed and inaugurated by President Bola Tinubu's administration. The contract of the library, which lies fallow on plots 35 cadastral business districts in the Federal Capital Territory, was awarded to Reynolds Construction Company in 2006 under the administration of former President Olusegun Obasanjo for 8.9 billion naira with an initial completion period of 4 years. The minister made the pledge during a tour of the edifice in company of the National Librarian Professor Chinwe Anunobi and some senior directors of the Federal Ministry of Education. The firm was said to have requested an upward review because of the decision of the federal government to incorporate new technology into the building. Addressing the reporters after the event, the minister emphasized the current administration's determination to deliver on what will bring progress and development, of which the National Library is one of the major edifices anywhere in the world. And on the foreign scene, France will ban children from wearing the abaya, the loose-fitting, full-length robe worn by Muslim women in state-run schools, the country's education minister has said ahead of the back-to-school season. France, which has enforced a strict ban on religious signs in state schools since 19th century laws, removed any traditional Catholic influence from public education, has struggled to update guidelines to deal with a growing Muslim minority. Recall that in 2004, the country banned headscarves in schools, and in 2010, it passed a ban on full face veils in public, angering many in its 5 million strong Muslim community. The move comes after months of debate over the wearing of abayas in French schools, where women have long been banned from wearing the hijab. Also, more than 100 schools in England have been told to immediately close classrooms and buildings over safety fears, plunging the annual back-to-school rush into chaos for many. Thousands of pupils now risk having to start the year taking lessons online or in temporary accommodation. Ministers were accused of incompetence after the order, which will see some schools forced to shut completely, was issued just days before schools reopen next week after the summer break. According to the National Audit Office, the number of schools affected could still rise as newly issued government guidance set out plans to survey all schools suspected of suffering similar problems within weeks. Teaching unions have also come out to tag the situation as nothing short of a scandal. That's all on the news, but before we go, a quick recap of the major stories. Rivers Varsity bans sale of textbooks, warns students against sorting. Kano government reduces tertiary institution fees by 50%. OAU bans hugging, sitting on laps, tattoos others among other indecent dressing on campus. And on the foreign scene, France to ban wearing abaya dress in schools, says minister. That's the news. It was compiled by Nima Ibrahim and edited by OLUBUNMI KAZEEM. Don't forget, for the coverage of your educational programs, fairs, competitions, seminars, trainings, among others, you can reach us on 0702-507-4268, or you can send us an email via educationmediaservices@gmail.com. Thank you for listening.
That's all we can take on the news for today. Right now, we'll take the International Day segment. Good afternoon. Welcome to the International Day segment of Education Today, where we'll take a look at different days marked by the United Nations to commemorate different aspects of our lives as global citizens. I am OLUBUNMI KAZEEM. Today, we'll be introducing these days to us, the purpose of their commemoration, when they began, and examples of some of these days marked for such observances. Talking about the UN days, these are the international days currently observed by the United Nations. The United Nations designates specific days, weeks, years, and decades as occasions to mark particular events or topics in order to promote thorough awareness and action, the objectives of the organization. Usually, it is one or more member states that propose these observances, and the General Assembly establishes them with a resolution. On occasion, these celebrations are declared by the specialized agencies of the United Nations, such as UNESCO, UNICEF, FAO, and so on, when they concern issues that fall within the scope of their competencies. Some of them may be later adopted by the General Assembly. The existence of international days predates the establishment of the United Nations, but the UN has embraced them as a powerful advocacy tool. The United Nations observed designated days, weeks, years, and decades, each with a theme or topic. By creating special observances, the United Nations promotes international awareness and action on these issues. Each international day offers many actors the opportunity to organize activities related to the theme of the day. organization and offices of the United Nations system, and most importantly, government, civil society, and the public and private sectors, schools, universities, and more generally citizens make an international day a springboard for awareness-raising actions. The majority of observances have been established by resolutions of the United Nations General Assembly, although some have been designated by UN specialized agencies. The United Nations also observe anniversaries of key events in its history. So, who chooses them and how? It is the most representative organ of the United Nations General Assembly which designates a particular date as an international day. International days are proposed to the UN General Assembly by member states. The General Assembly then decides by consensus whether to adopt the resolution establishing the particular day. When themes of international days always linked to the main fields of action of the United Nations, namely the maintenance of international peace and security, the promotion of sustainable development, the protection of human rights, and the guarantee of international law and humanitarian action. In its resolutions, the General Assembly usually explains what prompted it to proclaim the International Day. For example, in declaring 23rd May the International Day for the Eradication of Obstetric Fistula, the resolution cited the interlinkages between poverty, malnutrition, lack of or inadequate or inaccessible healthcare services, early childbearing, child marriage, violence against young women and girls, and gender discrimination as root causes of obstetric fistula, and that poverty remains the main social risk factor. Many people may never have heard about this disease, which causes some of the most devastating injuries that can occur in childbirth, despite the fact that some 2 million women in developing countries live with it, and between 50,000 and 100,000 new cases occur every year. This is a great example of the crucial awareness-raising job that international days do. In addition, this UN body points out in its resolutions which aspects of the problem are of the most concern to the UN member states, or in other words, to humanity as a whole, given that the General Assembly is made up of 193 countries, that is, most of the states of the world. A great example of this is the resolution that designates 23rd June as International Widows' Day, in which the General Assembly states that it is deeply concerned that millions of children of widows face situations of hunger, malnutrition, child labor, difficult access to healthcare, water and sanitation, loss of schooling, illiteracy, and trafficking in persons. Some of international days are proclaimed not by the General Assembly but by specialized agencies of the United Nations to draw attention of the public to topics under their field of expertise, such as health, aviation, intellectual property, etc. For example, World Press Freedom Day, which is celebrated on 3rd May, was proclaimed by the United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization UNESCO based in Paris, and was later adopted by the General Assembly. In addition to raising awareness, the UN takes advantage of these days to advise states on actions to tackle the serious problems around which many of these dates revolve. An example is the resolution on the International Day of Biological Diversity, celebrated on 22nd May, in which the organization invites its member states to sign and ratify the Cartagena Protocol on the protection of biological diversity. So, how then do we measure the impact of these days? The international observances, which also includes weeks, years, and decades, are some of the most visited pages on the United Nations website. Each international day has a dedicated website available in the UN's 6 official languages. The international days also serve as an indicator of the interest that a given subject attracts in each part of the world. To find this out, we look at the level of engagement that these commemorations receive in different regions and languages across the world. A case well worth highlighting is the International Day of Human Rights, which takes place on 10th December. This day is observed all around the world with initiatives ranging from military and police officers swapping guns for running shoes in South Sudan to a student competition in Russia or an exhibition in Brazil. All in all, a multitude of individuals from all walks of life get involved in a way or another in the celebration of this special day. Other most popular days include the International Women's Day on 8th March, World Water Day 22nd March, and the International Day of Peace, celebrated on 21st September. You may also be interested to know that 21st March is the date of 5 different international days, and June is the month with the most international days. Also, as a special is the celebration of multilingualism. There is a special category of international days that celebrate the UN's official languages. The Department of Global Communications has established them to recognize multilingualism and cultural diversity, as well as to promote equal use of all 6 official languages throughout the organization. Under this initiative, UN duty stations around the world observe 6 separate days, each dedicated to one of the organization's 6 official languages. Language days at the UN aim to entertain as well as inform with the goal of increasing awareness and respect for the history, culture, and achievements of each of the 6 working languages among the UN community. The days are as follows: Arabic commemorated 18 December, Chinese 20th April, English 23rd April, Spanish 23rd April, French 20th March, and Russian 6th June. Other observances that celebrate multilingualism include International Mother Language Day, International Translation Day, the International Year of Indigenous Languages, which was commemorated in 2019, and the International Year of Languages commemorated in 2008. That's all on the International Day segment. Education Today continues in a moment. Please stay with us.
Ẹ̀kọ́ ló láyé táwa yìí sẹ́, ẹ̀kọ́ dára púpọ̀, ẹ̀kọ́ ló láyé táwa yìí sẹ́, ẹ̀kọ́ ló ń gbé ní dẹni gíga, ẹ̀kọ́ ló ń gbé ní dépò ọlá, ẹ̀dàkúnyé ẹ̀yin òbí wa, tẹ́bà lówó kẹjọ kẹtọ́ wa, ẹ̀kọ́ ló ń gbé ní dẹni gíga, ẹ̀kọ́ ló ń gbé ní dépò ọlá, ẹ̀dàkúnyé ẹ̀yin òbí wa, tẹ́bà lówó kẹjọ kẹtọ́ wa. Ẹ̀dàkúnyé ẹ̀yin òbí wa, lẹ́bàá lówó kẹjọ kẹtọ́ wa. Ọmọ tí kò gbẹ́kọ̀ ó dání lójú pé yóò jìyà. Ọmọ tí kò gba ẹ̀kọ́ ó dání lójú pé yóò jìyà. Iṣẹ́ burúkú ni wọ́n ń ṣe, tí wọ́n bá jalè wọ́n wá tún fọ́lé. Ẹ̀dàkúnyé ẹ̀yin òbí wa, lẹ́bàá lówó kẹjọ kẹtọ́ wa. Iṣẹ́ burúkú ni wọ́n ń ṣe, tí wọ́n bá jalè wọ́n wá tún fọ́lé. Ẹ̀dàkúnyé ẹ̀yin òbí wa, lẹ́bàá lówó kẹjọ kẹtọ́ wa. Ẹ̀dàkúnyé ẹ̀yin òbí wa, lẹ́bàá lówó kẹjọ kẹtọ́ wa.
All right, that was the International Day segment. On September 8th, this coming Friday, it will be the International Literacy Day. Please watch out for it. So right now, we'll take the Did You Know segment with Aisha Hussein. Hello, Aisha.
Hello.
All right, so can we have the Did You Know segment?
Good afternoon and welcome to the Did You Know segment of Education Today. We consider random ideas, thoughts, personalities, events, concepts, and celebrations that many people are unaware of. The objective is to broaden our horizon and increase our base knowledge of things around us beyond what is taught in schools and classrooms. I am Aisha Hussein. Today, we want to talk about hieroglyphics. Hieroglyphic writing is a system that employs character in the form of pictures. The individual sign called hieroglyphs may be read either as pictures, as symbols for objects, or as symbols for sound. The name hieroglyphic, from the Greek word for sacred carving, is Greek translation of the Egyptian phrase, the god's words. It's first encountered in the writing of Diodorus Siculus, 1st century BCE. Earlier, the other Greeks had spoken of sacred signs when referring to Egyptian writing. Among the Egyptian scripts, the Greeks label as hieroglyphic the scripts they found on temple walls and public monuments in which the characters were pictures sculpted on stone. The ancient Egypt used the distinctive scripts known today as hieroglyphs for almost 4,000 years. Hieroglyphs were written on papyrus, carved in stone on tombs and temple walls, and used to decorate many objects of cultic and daily life use. Altogether, there are over 700 different hieroglyphics, some of which represent sound or syllable, others that serve as determinative to clarify the meaning of a word. The hieroglyphic script originated shortly before 3100 BC, at the very onset of pharaonic civilization. The last hieroglyphic inscription in Egypt was written in the 5th century AD, some 3,500 years later. In 391 AD, the Byzantine Emperor Theodosius I closed all pagan temples throughout the empire. This action terminated the 4,000-year-old tradition, and the message of the ancient Egypt's language was lost for 1,500 years, as nobody was unable to read it. It was not until the discovery of the Rosetta Stone in 1799 in Egypt by Napoleon Stroop and the work of Jean-François Champollion that the ancient Egypt awoke from their long slumber. The Rosetta Stone is a trilingual decree written in hieroglyph, Greek, and Demotic, dating to the time of Ptolemy V. Its discovery proved to be a crucial link in unlocking the mysteries of Egyptian hieroglyphs, and in 1822 enabling Jean-François Champollion to decipher the hieroglyphic sign, thereby allowing the modern study of Egyptian language to begin. I hope we have learned something.
All right, you're still on to Education Today, and we are moving into the discuss segment. Already, our guest is here with us, and we shall be taking a look at dress codes in Nigerian tertiary institutions and other related matters. Well, as a brief intro, many tertiary institutions in Nigeria have developed a dress code for students on campus, while most of these codes specify unacceptable modes of dressing or appearance on campus. Some have specific codes in terms of color, in particular faculties. In a revised student handbook released by the Obafemi Awolowo University, Ile-Ife, the institution placed a ban on public kissing and hugging by opposite sex, any skimpy dress, making of tinted hair, tattoos, and others. It also asked the students to desist from wearing any dress or item that cover the faces, and also banned opposite sex students from sitting on each other's lap. The code also banned backless clothes, transparent wear, off-shoulder clothes, bomb shorts, tattered jeans, dreadlocks, earrings for males and cowries for females, and macro mini dresses. The university also banned sagging of trousers or knickers for males and females, hair braiding for males, nose, mouth, eye, or extra rings, crop or jump tops, unconventional wearing of caps, tattoos, indelible markings for males, multicolored braids for females, haircuts with inscriptions, t-shirts with obscene inscriptions depicting immorality, hooliganism, among others. It vowed that heavy makeups, rumpled and dirty clothes, and hair plaiting or weaving by male students will no longer be tolerated on campus. According to the school, violators of any of the dress codes will be rusticated from the school for 1 semester, while in addition, any student found with colored hairstyles, hair braiding for males, and spangled hairstyle for males will be rusticated for 2 semesters from the school. Students found touching, kissing, or hugging a member of the opposite sex, and students found massaging or sitting on the lap of the opposite sex will be rusticated for 2 semesters. In a similar move, the authorities of Alex Ekweme University in Dufulalike, Ebonyi State, prescribed a fine of 10,000 naira for any student found contravening the university's dress code. Other institutions like University of Lagos, University of Ilorin, Yaba Tech, Yaba College of Technology, among others, also have similar dress codes. So today we'll be taking a look at these codes by these tertiary institutions. How realistic are some of these provisions? How effective can they be? And of what use actually are these codes to the educational system as a whole? So discussing this, we have a lecturer in the Department of Education Management, University of Lagos, Mrs. Kuforola Zaccheaus, joining us virtually on the program. So do we have Mrs. Zaccheaus online? Good afternoon, madam. I think we are having some technical hitches. I would hello, good afternoon, Mrs. Zaccheaus. I think you need to unmute yourself. We can't hear you right now.
dára púpọ̀ ẹ̀kọ́ ló láyé táwa yìí sẹ̀ ẹ̀kọ́ ló ń gbé ní dẹni gíga ẹ̀kọ́ ló ń gbé ní dépò ọlá ẹ̀dàkúnyé ẹ̀yìn òbí wa lẹ́bàá lówó kẹjọ kẹtọ́ wa ẹ̀kọ́ ló ń gbé ní dẹni gíga ẹ̀kọ́ ló ń gbé ní dépò ọlá ẹ̀dàkúnyé ẹ̀yìn òbí wa lẹ́bàá lówó kẹjọ kẹtọ́ wa ẹ̀dàkúnyé ẹ̀yìn òbí wa lẹ́bàá lówó kẹjọ kẹtọ́ wa. Iṣẹ́ burúkú ni wọ́n ń ṣe tí wọ́n bá jalè wọ́n wá tún fọ́lé ẹ̀dàkúnyé ẹ̀yìn òbí wa lẹ́bàá lówó kẹjọ kẹtọ́ wa. Iṣẹ́ burúkú ni wọ́n ń ṣe tí wọ́n bá jalè wọ́n wá tún fọ́lé ẹ̀dàkúnyé ẹ̀yìn òbí wa lẹ́bàá lówó kẹjọ kẹtọ́ wa. Ẹ̀dàkúnyé ẹ̀yìn òbí wa lẹ́bàá lówó kẹjọ kẹtọ́ wa.
Hello? So can you hear me now? Is Koforola Zakios, a lecturer in the Department of Education and Management, Faculty of Education, University of Lagos, joining us online to discuss the topic dress codes
I can hear you, Papa.
All right, thank you very much. All right, good. So, we want to, like I introduced earlier, we want to discuss dress codes in Nigerian tertiary institutions. And we gave a background that many tertiary institutions in Nigeria have developed a dress code for students while on campus. So some of them specify the acceptable modes of dressing and appearance, and some have specific codes in terms of colors for particular faculties. Then again, these codes specified, placed a ban on some activities like public kissing and hugging by the opposite sex, wearing of skimpy dresses, making of tinted hair, and wearing of earrings, dreadlocks, and many other aspects like that. Now, these codes also specify specific punishment for violation of these codes. Specifically, you have rustication for a semester or two for students, as far as Awolowo University is concerned, when it comes to having colored hairstyles, hair braiding, and the like. Students found touching, kissing, or hugging a member of the opposite sex, and students found massaging or sitting on the lap of opposite sex will be rusticated for 2 semesters. While in the case of Federal University, Alex Ekweme University, the fine of 10,000 naira has been prescribed for any student found contravening the university's dress code. So we also have universities like your own university, University of Lagos, University of Ilorin, and Yabatech, and many other institutions like that. They also have similar dress codes. So I want to quickly take a look at that this afternoon, and that's why we have you online. So please, can you still hear me? So Mrs. Zakias, do we still have you there with us? Hello? All right, so can you hear us now?
ẹ̀kọ́ ló láyé táwa yìí sẹ́ ẹ̀kọ́ dára púpọ̀ ẹ̀kọ́ ló láyé táwa yìí sẹ́ ẹ̀kọ́ ló ń gbé ní dẹni gíga ẹ̀kọ́ ló ń gbé ní dépò ọlá ẹ̀dàkúnyé ẹ̀yìn òbí wa lẹ́bà lówó kẹjọ kẹtọ́ wa ẹ̀kọ́ ló ń gbé ní dẹni gíga ẹ̀kọ́ ló ń gbé ní dépò ọlá ẹ̀dàkúnyé ẹ̀yìn òbí wa lẹ́bà lówó kẹjọ kẹtọ́ wa ẹ̀dàkúnyé ẹ̀yìn òbí wa lẹ́bà lówó kẹjọ kẹtọ́ wa.
Hello?
I'm here.
All right. You probably need to speak out more so that we can hear you properly.
All right.
Okay, good. Let me probably ask, did you hear the background that I painted for this particular topic concerning the dress code in the tertiary institutions and some of the prescribed, punishment for violations, including rustication for 2 semesters and the likes like that?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Thank you very much. Alex Ekweme University recommended prescribed a fine of 10,000 naira for any student that contravenes the university's dress code, and for Buffalo University, a semester or 2 semesters for students found kissing, hugging, or touching the member of the opposite sex, as well as for heavy makeups, unacceptable dressing, different colored hairstyles, and the likes like that. All right. So, as a start, let me probably ask you, what would be your reaction to some of these revised, codes for dressing for students in these tertiary institutions, especially like the case of Obafemi University? So, what would be your immediate reaction to this?
For me, every university has a dress code. This dress code are already in the rules and regulations even before your admission as a student into the university. So I think they have a strong reason and objective for reviewing this dress code and putting it out there for the university community and the environment to see. So for me, I think it's okay.
Okay.
To go ahead with it.
So, okay, fine. Since you talked about probably the fact that these institutions would have the objectives, well, what could you say are the objectives of these dress codes enacted by these institutions? What exactly could they be interested in achieving?
The university is an academic environment. It's one of the first places you will look out for if you want to see a decent environment. Apart from the family, the university, apart from the religious body, is a place where decency, security, and modesty should be upheld. So for the university, they have the objective of bringing that sense into every student and the community of the university
as a whole.
They understand the fact that dress code, there is freedom of dressing. But when you are in the university, there is a tone that is expected. There are certain ways of dressing that is expected that will differentiate you from being inside the university and being outside the university environment.
Okay, good. Now, but then there are some people that will say, are you saying that these students are not mature enough to determine what suits them or what is appropriate, to be worn? We are talking about mature students here. They're no longer in secondary school. They're not in primary school. They're talking about students of tertiary institutions. Some of them are even above the legal age. They've entered into adulthood, like 18. Some of them are above 18 years. So are you saying, for instance, they cannot decipher or discern what is good for them? That university now has to specify, the system of dressing?
If you check very well to see some of the things listed here, We can say hugging is a form of dressing. And what about massaging and kissing in the university environment? That doesn't have a place in the university.
Sitting on
So if
laps,
this,
or probably
yes, sitting on
the
laps, touching
hairdo,
bodies, kissing,
or
caressing, they are not for public consumption.
really.
And if you say you're a student in a school, I don't think that is part of the curriculum.
It's not.
So they should be expecting such.
Okay, if you're saying it's not part of the curriculum, then will that not be infringing on their fundamental human right? Do you think this can stand the test of the law? If probably a particular student decides to sue the university for infringing on its fundamental human rights, or freedom of association, or freedom of dressing and things like that, or probably you are trying to curb or limit their fundamental human rights. Do you think?
Okay.
Don't you think probably some of the some sections of these dress codes are probably is some of them are actually infringing on their fundamental human rights?
Okay. Um, when you check some of those codes, you will find a place where it's stated by the university that they recognize the individual's freedom of dressing, but there should be a chance for decency and security.
So who defines
So they
decency? Who
understand
defines decency? The school,
the environment
the
that you have.
law, the culture, or what exactly?
Yes, yes, define decency. If you go to some other school, they might not have this rule, they might not have this conduct because it's fine by them. But where a particular code or law has been stated, that's define the decency in that environment.
So
And I
what would be
want you
your,
to
sorry, okay,
understand
so
that,
because I know I would have loved that, would take this very long, but then because we have a very short time, how would you react to this statement, or this the reaction? How, I want to know what you feel about the reaction of some of these students who feel like you're actually making them look like secondary school students. Like, I know, for instance, faculty of law students, you have to wear your white and black. I sometimes feel like, are we returning to secondary schools? So what would be your reaction to this?
I'm sure for me, my reaction is mixed. I know that for hugging, somebody might say, oh, hugging is just a feeling of happiness. You see your friend and you're greeting. But when it's going extreme, it has to be curbed. So
Again,
my reaction is
again, the
mixed.
question will be, what exactly is extreme, or how do we define extreme when it comes to hugging? Or should it probably
Hugging,
just be
you
a
can
case of
see,
it's only male can hug a male, female can hug a male, but not probably from the opposite sex? Is that what we would now probably say is going extreme?
we can say hugging is fine for greeting and feeling a feeling of happiness, expressing yourself when you're happy. But when it goes to kissing in the public, sitting on laps, touching each other in the public,
That,
in the
well,
school
they call
environment,
that
I think
PDA,
I think
public display
that's
of affection, actually. All right. So
yes.
but with this dress code, probably including the hairdo, the kinds of attires that can be worn, the kinds of probably jewelries that can be used, and things like that. What benefit do you think this dress code brings to the students and to the school environment as a whole?
For the students, they will gain the culture of decency because when they graduate from the university, they might have their own personal enterprise or they want to work somewhere. Their decency will be required. So if they pick up this culture and they live with it will be something easy for them when they go into the labor markets. They won't have to struggle with it. It will also increase, for me, it will increase their focus because some students will gain a kind of affection, emotion. We can say some students can manage somebody sitting on your lap, touching you, and you still be able to focus on your academics. But some students might not be able to have that strength to manage it. And while they are in the class, they are thinking about somebody that sat down, somebody that touched them, somebody that kissed them, and they are being distracted. So they will gain more focus apart from that decency culture that they will imbibe, that will help them when they get to the labor market or outside world. They will also gain focus in the academics and know the reason why they actually came to the school and be able to focus on that goal.
And most likely that will probably even enhance the academic performance in school, because if they are able to
Yes,
focus. All right. Now, but
yes.
probably may I draw your attention to some specifics in these schools? Like, let's take a look at some of these specific, like the banning of hairdo, tattoos, studs, wearing of studs by probably male students and things like that. Do you think these are necessary? Because we now have a generation in the world today who feels that that is really not a definition of who they are or their personality. That probably I have my hairdo does not mean I'm not brilliant, or does not mean I cannot perform my work effectively. You see someone with probably a tattoo and is an engineer, you see someone with a tattoo and even a police officer. They see some of these things outside Nigeria and they feel like, so what is actually stopping them? So how would you do you think, or some of these are also necessary within the codes as specified, like in a university like Obafemi University in Nigeria?
OAU has always been known for discipline, upholding discipline. For tattoo, having studs for male students, I don't think that is necessary at that point. Because you're a student, you're in the learning environment. One of the things I want to know that is guiding this rule that they are making, this review of dress code, is the fact that that is an academic environment. It's an environment for intellects. It's an environment for elites. So we are not saying those wearing tattoo, we are not saying those with stud, they are not brilliant. But there are some things that are expected to be seen when you're in such environments. And for the sake of that is the reason why they have brought out this rule. They are not saying, oh, if you're a student and you have braids on as a male student, you're not going to be the best graduate student. No. They are saying this is an academic environment. In this environment, if you want to be in this environment and you're in AU, these are certain things that you should be able to maintain in your dress code.
Okay.
So,
because,
it's necessary.
I'm trying to play, I don't want to call it probably devil's advocate, but that's what I'm actually trying to do here. No, we are talking about generations, the millennials here. Now, they give an example of a person like Lekon that went to BBA Niger, and this guy's he actually studied philosophy and came out with a first class, and now he has actually even gone ahead to, gone abroad to actually for his masters. He has concluded the program, he finished in flying colors. And yet he has this hairdo and things, and I feel like, see, that's not a definition of my personality, or probably even a definition of decency, because even in some of these other societies, they accepted it and it has not really affected their studies. So I'm also looking at that. I now probably try to marry that with the idea of probably even sitting on laps, kissing and things like hugging. Some of these times they do this, might not necessarily even be in classrooms, might be probably in front of their hostels or some public gardens within the school like that. They are just having a nice time and they feel like, here we are talking about adults here. That all these rules are they not being restrictive? So that's I'm trying to imagine, if you understand how this generation of people, young adults, how they think. They feel like you guys are old cargoes. That's the way they call us. I don't know if I thought I already even belong in that category. But they say you guys are old cargoes. You guys are, past generations. So ancient of days. This is how things are in this current generation. So why should you determine our own generation by your own experiences? So how would you come in here? What would be your reaction here?
I know that a lot of youths and students will feel, especially those that are already as students in the university, will feel left out. They'll feel like their human rights has been tarnished. I understand that aspect. Somebody might say hugging, sitting down on laps are just part of life. You just want to feel happy. But I want us to consider the reasons why this university has to review this dress code. They might not publicly come out to say this and this is what we have encountered as a result of this, but I'm sure they have strong reasons backing this up.
All right. Well,
Yes.
I want to believe that. Well, they must have their reasons. All right. So Well, to our listeners, you are still listening to Education Today on Live Radio, and we are discussing, dress codes in our tertiary institutions, and we have Mrs. Kuforola Zakios, a lecturer in the Department of Education Management, University of Lagos, as our guest discussant. And don't forget, you can be part of this discourse by sending your comments, questions, and contributions to us via on Facebook via www.facebook.com/Lights Radio. You can also watch our live streaming on YouTube, Light Space Radio. You see the symbol LR. You can also call or send a message to us via SMS or WhatsApp on 0809 738 4000. A reminder of our short quiz. We said, what is the name of the artifact discovered by Napoleon's troops in Egypt in 1799 that gave insight into hieroglyphics? If you remember, if you follow us on our Did You Know segment, we say hieroglyphics is a system of writing that emanated from Egypt, and truly that's the first system of writing that ever existed in human history. All right, so you can send your answer to that particular artifact that gave us insight into the system called hieroglyphics. You can send your answer to the WhatsApp number 0809 738 4000 or our Facebook or YouTube page where we're actually streaming this program live. So the first correct answer wins the prize. So let me quickly come back to you, Mrs. Zakios. Now, often we talk about global best practice. Now, with the fact that a lot of these, some of these sinner climbs that Nigerians call them, that will try to emulate or will try to envy their, systems and practices. Do we have some of these laws or codes as regards dressing in some of these universities or institutions?
Yes, every university has a dress code, but the question is, to what level are they being implemented?
Okay.
When you go for orientation, you hear, don't dress like this. You see the handbook, you see it there, but they don't really have a system of implementation, checking and monitoring those things, or putting it into quality assurance.
Okay, I'm talking about, for instance, universities outside Nigeria, universities like probably in the US or in the UK. Do you think they will have a law that will probably ban students from, having braids, or wearing studs, or, drawing tattoos on their bodies and things like that, or public hugging?
It might not be as extreme as what we have here.
So do you agree that what we have here then is extreme?
Yes, this is Africa.
Okay, this is Africa.
And the university we are talking about is in Nigeria.
Okay.
Africa.
So cultural practice now is actually what is probably defining some of this things. All right, look, like you have said. So, but then let's look at the punishment. Rustication for 1-2 semesters, 10,000 naira fine for probably not conforming to the dress code. Is that not an overkill?
Okay, I understand that this dress code has been on ground for about 20 years. It was just new reviewed.
Okay.
So that means it has been violated in so many ways. And the university is trying to make it harsh this time to make sure that they were able to curb this. Because for it to be 20 years and is now being reviewed, and it said that if you go against it, you'll pay 20,000, you'll be rusticated for a semester or 2 semesters. It shows that they really want to get the results.
Okay.
They want to be sure that everybody hears it and try as much as possible to abide by that rule.
Okay. So now, in all of this, good, thank you. In all of this, you as a manager or a teacher of management education, you know quite well, I know that in management, that if you are coming up with a policy, those who will be affected by such policies are expected to be consulted in the process, in the formulation process, in the stage. Is that not so? Now, so let me probably ask you: do you think that for these policies or some of these codes, we really had input from student representatives, or don't you think that is actually required? Because I'm trying to imagine, if at all their inputs were actually sought, do you think we would have some of these codes as we have it now, if truly the input of the students were actually sought?
Okay, I will have to stand on that matter. The first is, it might not be as extreme as this if they're actually
consulted.
Okay. Consulted, yes. Another thing is, if you see this, if you actually meet this student representative out there, whether in a conference or you went to their school for a program, you don't see them dress in any of this manner. They are always dressed in the way that they can represent the students.
Okay,
that they are
corporately,
head.
decently.
Yes, yes. I've had the new avenue of meeting some of the students, and I was also part of the body when I was in university doing undergraduates.
Okay.
And you can't just dress anyhow for any program or to represent. And, so I think if they've consulted, it might not be as extreme as this, but nevertheless, these student representatives too, they don't dress in
such manners.
anyhow manner.
Okay.
They try to be decent, yes.
Because I'm trying to imagine that it's as if, I'm just trying to, reason. I'm trying to empathize with some of these students. That can you imagine? It is these old cargos deciding, from enacting laws, coming up with these codes and policies for us.
I'm sure that's the feeling.
That's the feeling. So you're like, how can you be deciding for us? It's about our lives. So why are you the ones, just doing it? You just came up with the laws without even consulting. I just say take like that, and we have no choice. And mind you, for some of these institutions, they don't even have, a viral student. Some don't even have student because the student union organization has been proscribed. So, and at the end of the day, you have some of these laws without the input of the students.
A lot of university has these rules and conducts. It's just that question of implementation. How much? Maybe now that AOU has been able to review theirs, other universities might decide to pick it up as well.
All right, good. So on a final note, so how do you think we can actually get the cooperation of of these students for some of these policies, so that we need to make them see reason and adjust appropriately on a final note, and probably give advice to the students themselves concerning some of these rules? So advise both the university authorities, the institutions, and the students themselves to see the objective from the the sincere point of view, from the objective point of view, rather than just the sentiment that some people deciding for them or something like that, making them feel that they have their best interest at heart.
Yes, there might be a big problem when the university management and the students have different view concerning this objective. But I think one of the ways they can make the students understand is to go through their student union. Every faculty have a student union. They can go through see the reason why this management has put up these policies and what they stand to gain, what they stand to benefit, even as students, what the university community stands to benefit, what the university perception out there also stands to benefit. And they can also go to their hostels, maybe organize a conference, an educative program, just to change their orientation and make them see through this objective. Also, orientation is very, very important. Orientation is very important. When there are new intake into the school and it's already been, this is what is on ground in this university, these are the rules guiding us, and these are the reasons why we've set these rules. These are the objectives. I'm sure that the students will not have any difficulty in following through because they already had that mindset from their entrance into the school. Okay. So for their orientation, admission, screening, going through their university union, organizing, educating program, conferences, and also the place where they reside, the place where they gather, they find a way to make sure that this knowledge, this information reach out to them, not just like enforcing it on them, but making them see the reason why these policies, this dress code has been put in place. I think it will really help a lot to achieve their goal.
Thank you very, very much, and I think that's a very good, juncture to really hang it for today's discussion. So I will appreciate you. Because of time, that's all we can take on the discourse segment for today. We'd like to appreciate our guest, Mrs. Koforola Zakios, a lecturer from the Department of Educational Management, Faculty of Education, University of Lagos. Thank you very much for coming on the show today, and we hope to have more opportunity to speak with you on other issues of concern relating to education in the future. I hope you would oblige us when we invite you.
Yes, it'll be my pleasure.
All right, thank you very, very much. All right, we'll go on a quick break, and when we return to be back, we'll be back for the words on the map. Please stay with us. All All right, you're welcome to the What's on the Marble segment of Education Today, where we'll take a look at memorable quotes that are educational and inspirational to everyone. Today we have a quote from Milcha Prada. According to her, what you wear is how you present yourself to the world, especially today when human contact are so quick. Fashion is instant language. That's our Words on the Marble for today. Our dressing speaks volume about our personality. Remember, you are addressed the way you are dressed. So don't dress to kill, but dress responsibly. All right, so before we go, this is just to inform our listeners that there has been an adjustment in our programming schedule as new segments have been introduced to the program lineup. So, like we said, apart from the regular, news, quiz, Words on the Marble, and discuss segments, the Professional of the Week and the Icon of the Week will feature fortnightly or as the schedule permits, while new segments like Did You Know, School in Focus, UN Days, Country in Focus, among others, are now included. We promise you that you are in for a lot of enlightenment and entertainment on this program. All right, so for our quiz, we ask that what artifact was actually discovered by Napoleon's men in Egypt in 1799? We told you that hieroglyphics is a system of writing in ancient Egypt, to say the fact. So we asked you that what particular artifact gave insight into this system of writing that was almost lost for over 1,500 years. And the answer, let me check. I don't have access to the WhatsApp phone now. Okay, we don't have any winner on the WhatsApp phone. All right, thank you very much. And online, we also don't have any of these responses on Facebook yet. Okay, so we only have some comments on Facebook, and we appreciate those who have sent in their comments. Fatima Bate, we have seen your comment. Akewi Akoka, we have seen your comment. Thank you very much. Fatima Adonis, thank you very much. And also have this from Abdulhafiz Kosen, who says the topic of discourse is really worth it, especially the way students believe that they have the liberty to dress higher institutions of learning based on their whims and desires. Our dress code in higher institution needs to go beyond the paper. It should be enforced, and students should be carried along during the formative stages of the dress code before it becomes law on them. Thank you very, very much. In fact, that summarizes our discussion for today. So Mr. Abdulhafiz Qasim, thank you very much for that comment. We appreciate it. So let us also keep it coming. Like we always tell us that you have the opportunity to continue to send in your comments by the time you go to our Facebook page or YouTube page. So to send in your comment. All right, so the answer to that question, like we said, the artifact that gave insight into hieroglyphic system of writing discovered by Napoleon's troops in 1799 in Egypt was the Rosetta Stone. The Rosetta Stone is actually, a stone that contains about 3 different forms of language: hieroglyphics, Greek, and Demotic or something like that. One of the all right, so about 3 languages. So that gave an idea of to people concerning the system of writing that was in place in ancient Egypt. All right, so this is just to inform you, our listeners, that you have the opportunity to advertise your products and services and also showcase your events on our program. This you can do by calling the number 07025074268. 07025074268. Thank you very much for joining us today. Let's know how you feel about today's program through our various platforms: www.facebook.com/education today. Our Twitter handle is @education today. Instagram, education_2 then DAY today. Also, YouTube, Education Space Today, Education Today. You can also send an email to educationmediaservices@gmail.com. You can watch the video of today's program again on Facebook or YouTube via Lights Radio. Please like our pages and share our videos to others. You can also listen to the repeat broadcast of the episode on Radio Garden app on Wednesdays between 2 and 3 p.m. West African time. Many thanks to the entire crew of Education Today and the management of Lights Radio, including MC Vibes, T-Wise, and Faisha. The supervising producer has been Nima Ibrahim. She has been the standing producer for today. Said Aremu is unavoidably absent, so he's actually under the weather, so we wish him quick recovery. So to every other person like that, so we wish you the best of health, and to those of us that will actually go about with our own, we pray for the best of good health. So do join us same time, same station next week, when we'll be coming up with a refreshing package of Education Today. Till then, I remain OLUBUNMI KAZEEM, and with me,
I shall say.
all right. So thank you. See you next week. Goodbye.